Welcome to Mogul Mentality, the podcast where we explore the intersection of mindset and business. Join us as we delve into the minds of successful entrepreneurs, thought leaders, uncovering the habits, strategies, and mindsets that have allowed them to achieve greatness. Whether you're a seasoned business owner or just starting out, our conversations will inspire you to think big, take action, and cultivate the mindset of a mogul. So sit back, relax, and get ready to elevate your thinking with Mogul Mentality. Welcome to the Mogul Mentality podcast. Devin is not with us today. He had his baby, so it's just me, Jesse Fisco, your host, riding this ship and navigating through the waters of resilience and success. That's what we're going to talk about today. And also, before we get started talking about anything, I want to invite you to go click on the link below. I want you to go check out the Business Liberation System. It is a 10-minute exercise that will literally change your business. You can click on the link below in the show notes. Please go check it out because I promise you, will help you back so much. It will help your business and it will allow you to regain the control of the CEO of your business. A lot of times we're employees. So with that being said, we're going to jump over into today's topic. I'm so excited to talk about resilience and success and how those two can go hand in hand, but then also understanding what resilience actually means to you. So let's talk about resilience a little bit. When I was writing the notes to this topic here, the first thing that came to my mind was an image of me. I'm a very visual person. That's how my mind speaks to me. It's a visual image of me twisting my ankle and then standing up, tying my shoes as tight as they could while I was playing basketball and running on the court. That was one of the first things that came to my mind. And that's what my mind associated resilience with, is getting back up, even though you're hurt or whatever the case, and being tough, right? That's awesome. However, as I started to write the notes a little bit about the show, I had to do a little bit more of a deep dive. You see, I looked at resilience in the dictionary just to understand what it truly means, not just what my filter is, but it's the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties and toughness. So, okay, there you go. Or the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape and being more elastic, right? And so I'm looking at this going, all right, what does resilience actually mean to me? And why is it not necessarily a positive word? Like, I don't associate it with positive. It's not really negative. It just is. But when I hear this word, I'm like, there's something there I need to learn. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today is how resilience and success can be tied together and how they can be polar opposites. And how having resilience, depending on your model of the world and the way you view it, could actually be hurting you on your level to success. And so let's talk about what this is, right? And how it could actually be detrimental for a moment. And I'll share with you a story that's happened in Devin and I's business. Fusion Capital Group, one of the businesses we run together. It is a home buying, flipping, wholesaling company. It's a lot of fun. We have enjoyed it. But we have learned more with this company about ourselves and about certain belief systems we have than we have with either other company we've ran. Like, we've ran several other companies, but for whatever reason, this one literally is like that one child that continues to just test you and to teach you. And I love it. I love working with Devin. We have the highest of highs sometimes and the lowest of lows. But I also look at it and say, this is what this topic of this show's for. This is what we are supposed to be sharing about Fusion Capital Group to share with you so that you understand. So, on my quest to resilience, this happened about a year and a half ago. We had 6 employees working with us in our business. Obviously, we do a lot of outbound. And so we reach out to a lot of home sellers, seeing if they want to sell their home. And a lot of those home sellers say, no, screw you, all the fun stuff. I'm not ready to sell. Then some of those actually say, yeah, I'd be interested in hearing what you have to say. So, we explore, ask a little bit more questions, and then we set up the appointment. After the appointment, that results in contracts. And so what we started noticing is with these, I think 5 or 6 employees, there was a few. We were doing a lot of outbound, having them reach out, And all of a sudden, things just dropped off. We didn't have appointments. Obviously, the contracts, which result in profitability, we hadn't had anything for a few months. And it was like, what is going on? This is so weird. And so we started paying attention to no contracts. No contracts came through, which meant that, all right, we should probably pay attention to our appointments and work backwards. Our appointments sucked. We weren't going on any appointments. And so each week, like we were noticing this trend, but doing really nothing about it other than jumping on a Zoom call and being like, we can do it, guys. Let's build up these appointments. Let's get everyone paid. And it was this resilience that was literally a hoorah. We're tough. We're going to see through this. We're going to keep our employees. We're going to see the best in these people because we don't give up. Right. And that was something that for me personally, I'm not going to speak for Devin, but for me personally, I believed. I'm not going to give up on you because I see the best potential in you. And so that's something we kept doing. Well, fast forward, this went on for about 6 months. No business, no closings in one of Utah's greatest real estate markets of all time. And it ended up being that the inevitable happened. We let everyone go. One of the guys that we were working with to become a partner and made some investments, he just up and left. Really just said, I'm out. Even though we had all these intentions to have him be a partner in our business, to help us run this business, to grow it so that Devin and I could walk away. And we held on to this idea of resilience. We weren't going to give up on our employees, but our employees gave up on themselves. They gave up on the process, on the belief. And I'm not saying that they conscientiously gave up, right? That they are like, screw this, I'm just gonna give up and I suck. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the vision, the things that were keeping the business running and getting opportunities, that all of a sudden disappeared. And that vision was moved on. Different things in life happen. And I think that that is the resilience that hurts success. Right. As I'm talking more about that, going through that hurt our success as a company, it got to the point where Devin and I were going from, yes, this business is going absolutely berserk and crazy to we may need to file bankruptcy. Like, I don't know what we're going to do. And so, as we've gone through the process of resilience, and this happened, like I said, about 18 months ago, now all of a sudden, it's just Devin and I. And we brought on some employees. We made a deal, right? We got some more money back into the account. We started to pay off some of the debts that we had, and all of a sudden we employ more people. Same thing happened, but this time it wasn't them; it was me. You see, I got to this point where it was like we have $3,000 left in this account. We have 4 people, 5 people that believe in me and believe in the system, but I can't even pay for next the next subscription. Doing what we do, I can't even buy the information I need, and it's because I went against some of the principles that we had because I got excited. I believed in everyone, and they believed, and we started to pick up and see momentum. However, this time there was bottlenecks, and there were things that were frustrating in the business, and so once again, we blew it up. We said, "Okay, we're not going to do this." And Devin and I had a quick meeting and said, we're just going to go back to what we do, like what made this business good in the beginning. Lo and behold, we do that. And it's like a weight lifted off our shoulders because business starts closing again. And it's just him and I doing it and working together and figuring it out. And business starts to pick up again. And so, like I said, it's like this child that just continues to like push and teach, and Devin and I are like going back and forth and learning through this entire process. If you're listening to this show, it's because you're a successful business owner or you're striving to become more successful. But guess what? Anytime you've experienced new success, it has brought new challenges. It's time for a change. Check out the Business Liberation System. It's the key to regaining focus and working on your business, not just in it. You see, as you experience more and more success, that success is bringing new things into your business that's taking away from your concentration, and it's costing you money. You're slowly going from CEO back to an employee, and don't let that catch you. It's time for you to recognize these things and get back on the track of becoming the CEO of your business so that you can work on it. Go to theemergecoaching.com and get on the fast track by joining the Business Liberation System. To get there even faster, click on the show notes and it will take you right to where you need to be. Success should bring freedom, not frustration. Let's get back to the episode. But I think that the biggest thing I've learned so far is the definition of resilience and what that truly means to me, right? In my mind, resilience means to be tough, to see the best in people, to bounce back from crap. And I've seen both of those things play. In some cases, when we're ready to consider splitting up and, dissolving this company, taking on the debts or filing bankruptcy, any of these things, I see the resilience come into play where all of a sudden, boom, Devin and I are back in. Like we bounce back from this and we're good. Meanwhile, I see the other idea of what I believe resilience is not giving up on people, and that's to a detriment. And so let's balance what is resilience and what is success, and understanding those two things together and really getting into it. So then let's talk about resilience in the idea of learning from failure for a minute, right? Like, I think that this is where we start to flip the script of like a idea of resilience into actually creating resilience into success. Learning from the failures. And I've kind of alluded to this in the conversation already, right? Um, I keep mentioning that Fusion Capital Group, one of our companies, is one of those things that just continues not to it just continues to teach us. And sometimes it's just frustrating. I can't stand it. And then I keep coming back. And the reason why I keep coming back is because there's some thing here. I'm learning how to bounce back against the failures, if you want to label it that. Now, quite frankly, I don't believe that there's failure. I believe there's only feedback. And so labeling something failure, it's no, there's too much feedback that I haven't been able to work through to get over that obstacle yet. And so what I look at is like, okay, what went wrong? Taking a step back. What went wrong here? Why did it go wrong? What were some of the things that I didn't do? Or where did I get too relaxed? Where did I get too comfortable? Where did I start to believe the stories as opposed to the numbers? And understanding that there are things that I need to learn along the way, because some of the greatest lessons come from the feedback that your business is giving you. And if you want to label it failure, be my guest. But I think you need to change the idea of what failure truly is. Because failure to me only means that you've given up yourself. You've thrown in the towel. You said, you know what, screw it. We're dissolving this company. We're no longer doing it. Whereas feedback is, okay, that didn't go quite well. That was an investment in ourselves. If you want to look at like Fusion Capital Group as an investment, Devin and I have invested well over, at this point, probably $500,000 in learning in a business that is barely profitable. But we keep trying. Why do we keep trying? It's because we are continuing to learn through the feedback that we get. And so here's an example, right? Like, you know, I go back to the breaking the, or not breaking the ankle rather, but spraining the ankle on the basketball court. It's time to start shifting your thoughts, right? I could stand up, I could cinch my shoes and continue to play, which in that moment may or may not happen, right? Depending on how severe the ankle is and if I believe that I'm going to be able to help my team and to win the game. But if I'm just limping out there and I'm not very effective, then at some point I just need to learn to walk and to learn from that moment, right? And so you're going to get different types of feedback. There may be some feedback where it's like it's a small tweak, but you can continue to play, it goes away, and you're beneficial to your team and the outcome of a win. There's going to be other times where you just have to get off the bench no matter how much you want to be on the court, right? But what you do on the bench versus, whatever decisions you make on the bench is going to shape the next experience you have, right? You can continue to be frustrated and go back out there the next game not learning anything from that moment and continuing to put a lot of pressure and effort on your ankle, thus hurting yourself, right? Even more. We watched that with Kevin Durant in the finals a couple of years ago when they were playing against Toronto, Golden State versus Toronto. Kevin Durant went out. He had a strained Achilles, went out, played because he just wanted to be there to show in his model of the world, his resilience. He's going to bounce back. They're going to win. And he blew out his Achilles because he wasn't necessarily, well, I don't want to speak for him, but because there wasn't a proper healing there. There wasn't the necessary steps, but he wanted to go out and win so bad. And I get that, right? But you ask, you consider this. Would you label that successful? Being able to sit out an entire season the next year because of a Achilles injury that could have been avoidable had you just made the decision to sit out instead and watch and learn from that. So going back to the ankle experience. All right, so you're sitting on the bench. Well, instantly you could start thinking, I'm going to get back out there as fast as possible. Or you could start thinking and ask yourself the questions, why did I experience that? How can I learn from this moment? There's no failure. It's feedback. It's an angle. It's an ankle twist, right? But what am I going to learn in this moment to get better? And then in practice, you're asking yourself that question, how do I avoid, or not how do I avoid, but how do I get stronger in my ankle, right? Staying positive. What's the outcome you want? I want to be stronger. I want to go up for that layup, that dunk, whatever the case, and come down and have my ankle like 100% strengthened, right? Focusing on the outcome of what you want, knowing that that will help you and it will work as a preventative way in the future, right? Going back to my business, all right, I want consistent lead flow from my team. And those lead flows, in order to hit our metrics, let's say 10, we need 10 appointments a week. And if we do 9 appointments and I go back and look at the data and someone is because someone else isn't doing what they said that they were going to do, then I have to consider the alternatives of how do I learn through this? What do I need to do to hold this person accountable instead of just seeing the good and saying they'll get better next week? I need to take action at that time and learn from it. Right. And that's where the resilience comes in. It's cool. Right. It doesn't have to be like, hey, you're fired to that employee that decides to make 48 out of 50 phone calls. But I could go back and say, hey, listen, right? Those 2 last phone calls, we are off 1 appointment this week because those 2 phone calls didn't happen, and we need to hold ourselves accountable. Like, what went wrong here? What was the situation? Like, were you on a call too long? Was this lead or was this opportunity not the right opportunity? What data do I need to gather in order to make it better for that employee to hit their number, right? And no longer becomes the employee is lacking. It becomes, all right, there's an area in my business, there's some feedback here that's making it so this employee cannot get the result that I truly want. Now, some may say, oh, Jesse, well, maybe he doesn't want to make those phone calls. Then at that point, you got to face it. Instead of seeing the good and saying, hey, I want you to stay here at this job, you got to recognize that this isn't even what they want. They don't even know what they want. And therefore, you're doing them a huge disservice by keeping them invested in a company of something they don't even want. You're doing your company a huge disservice, and having that opportunity just to cut the ties faster makes more sense, right? But paying attention to the feedback that your business is giving you. What are the things your employees are saying? What are the things that you're experiencing every single day to improve? I did a podcast video on Jesse Fisco for those that want to go watch more information. It wasn't even a podcast video; it was just a video about a flower guy. And I pull up on the side of the road, asked the guy if I could buy some flowers, and he says, I only take cash. I'm like, you don't take Venmo? No, I only take cash. Well, I don't have cash, so I can't buy flowers. That right there should be feedback for you to say, how do I get better? Right? Instead of being resilient and saying, oh, I'm just going to continue to be out here as long as possible, maybe you need to start looking at the resilience as more of a play through the feedback, right? Resilience is receiving feedback that kind of stings a little bit, right? Oh, I don't necessarily like the way that coach pushed me. but then learning through it, right? And that's how you're going to overcome your business failure, right? Your business, there's no such thing as failure. There's only feedback. So becoming more prone to looking at the feedback from your business, you're going to get better and better every single time you decide to look at it and say, how does this improve? Which in theory, with all that, starts to change your mindset, starts to change the outlook of your business, starts to change the outlook of your employees, because your employees see you as a leader and they go, whoa, every time there's something that does not happen, this person takes action some way, shape, or form in a positive way that helps the business. I'm going to have to level up. I too am going to have to start looking this way if I want to stay here, because this guy's light or girl is shining so much that it makes me feel uncomfortable being here unless I raise the bar, right? I've got a great friend. He's probably listening to this podcast, and there's nothing but love coming from my voice when we talk about this. But he reached out to me and he said, "Hey, let's do lunch." I said, "Okay, let's do lunch. Here's the deal. I got to leave at this time. I call it at this time." And my friend is notoriously late. I love him to death, but he's notoriously late. I just said, "At this time, I'm out." So I show up. He's like, "Hey, I'm running a little bit behind." Cool. I get my food. I start to eat. Let him know, "Hey, man, I'm just going to start eating because once again, I got my deadline." Well, while I'm pulling out because I'm following my deadline, he's pulling in. He's frustrated because I'm leaving. And he's like, "Dude, I just got here. Like, I thought we were doing lunch." And I just had to remind him, say, "Listen, like, I told you this time. I have to stay true to myself." Well, lo and behold, going back to that light and that energy, the next time we went, he was there on time and he was ready to go. Because as your mindset starts to shift, as you start to focus more on the feedback and improving the business and getting better and better and better every single day, other people around you start to recognize that too and start to follow you. And that's where your business mindset really starts to shift. That's where your leadership starts to break through. But it comes down to you taking those jumps, looking at the feedback. Okay, you're late to this appointment. Why are you late to this appointment? Well, it's because I had to go and do something here. Well, maybe instead of trying that again, maybe I need to be resilient, learn through that situation and say, you know what? I'm going to bounce back. I was late today, but tomorrow I'm not going to be late because I'm going to eliminate X, Y, and Z in order to make that happen, to be there on time, whatever it is. Same thing with your diet, but always be analyzing the data. There's so much data that's coming through. If you're a successful CEO, you're analyzing your data every single day. We'll start analyzing the data of your business and based off the words people are saying to you or what you're seeing or hearing, right? Or even feeling in some cases. So just wanted to say, like, as you start to bridge the gap of what resilience truly means, then you're going to start seeing more success. Resilience is fighting through the feedback that you're getting or navigating through the feedback, making the proper changes, bouncing back and getting back on track and being flexible as opposed to continuing to, in my case, see the good in people that didn't want to be there in the first place. And so understanding what it is. What does resilience mean to you? With that being said, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the Mogul Mentality podcast. Once again, I'm going to be very resilient and asking you to check out the business liberation system. Maybe you've heard this before and you're like, nah, I don't want to do it. Well, then let's actually listen to the feedback that you're getting right now and try something new. You can click on the link below in the show notes. Please go visit the business liberation system. I 100% guarantee it will change your business. It will change the trajectory and make you feel more in control of your business. Thanks so much for listening to Mogul Mentality Podcast. Look forward to being back with you next week with Devin, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you for listening to the Mogul Mentality Podcast. We hope you found today's episode helpful and inspiring. If you enjoyed the show, please consider sharing it with your friends and leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us to reach more listeners and create more content that can help you on your journey to becoming a successful entrepreneur. We appreciate your feedback and suggestions for future topics, so don't hesitate to reach out to us on social media or via email. Remember, developing a mobile mentality takes hard work and dedication, but with the right mindset and strategies, anything is possible. So keep grinding, stay focused, and we'll see you on the next episode.